6 soldiers, 1 hunter killed by bandits in Niger. Days after being shot down for alleged conspiracy with bandits, fueling station reopens for business. 4 aspirants reject Ondo APC primary, demand fresh exercise. On a foreign scene, 58 die after boat capsizes in Central Africa. Hello and welcome to News Hour tonight on Trust TV. I am Chiamaka Mafo. Now let's get into the news. 6 soldiers and 1 hunter have been reportedly killed by bandits in Karaga and Romase communities in Basa ward of Chiro local government area of Niger State. 2 farmers were also reported to have been killed, while houses, food banks and motorcycles were burnt by the attackers. Local sources said the attack started around 9 p.m. on Friday and lasted hours. One of the local sources, who didn't want his name mentioned, said 6 soldiers lost their lives and 1 volunteer hunter. Another source, Mustafa Basa, said bandits in their numbers rode on motorcycles, with each motorcycle carrying 3 people and shooting sporadically as they moved into the communities. He said motorcycles, houses and food banks were set ablaze during the attack. The Niger State Police Command is yet to issue a statement on the attack. To give us an update on this story is Abubakar Akote, our correspondent in Niger State, a Daily Trust reporter in Niger State. Good evening, Akote.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining us. Now, what more can you tell us? What more have you been able to garner from this devastating attack?
So far, the report emerging from the communities indicated that it was an ambush on the soldiers who tried to respond to a distress call from communities. The soldiers who moved from Alawa, they have 2 camps in the Shiro local government. One is Alawa community, one is in Erina. So the soldiers moved from both camps to respond to attacks on Kukoki axis, where some villages were held hostage by bandits. So on their way, bandits laid ambush, and according to local sources, open fire, killing the 6 of them, including a vigilante or hunter who were among the joint security task force who were responding to the stress call.
Okay, so Akote, now how volatile is the security arrangements in the affected areas? As
we stand now, the area, the challenge in Chiro local government, as I've said, there are only 2 military camps, one in Erina, one in Alawa, and looking at the vastness of the forest in the area, and the deployable nature of roads and the axis always makes it difficult for security operatives to respond successfully each time bands attack. Bands have mastered the terrain and then move on motorcycles, which makes it easy for them to escape. While the military, the security operatives will move on vehicles, on vans, which is always difficult to move, looking at the deployable nature of the roads. So the situation in the area is not that conducive for security to always respond successfully each time they are called upon to respond to the attackers.
Okay, so earlier in the story we read preceding this interview, we said that the Niger State Police Command has not yet confirmed the incident. Has that changed? Have they been able to confirm it? And can they actually tell us the number of casualties involved?
The police have not responded. They are not as usual. When it has to do with military, police always refrain from making comments. However, I contacted Niger State Commissioner for Homeland Security, Brigadier General Bello Abdullah Mohammed, who replied to my message that confirming the attack, and he said government is on top of the situation, and the government is going to support the bereaved families and now and always, and they will support other security operatives in their effort to end banditry in the state.
Okay, so Coach, if I understand you correctly, the police have not confirmed the incident. However, the Commissioner for Security in the state confirmed the incident to you.
Yes, and he said all hands are on deck to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to face the law. All
right, thank you so much, Abubakar Kote, for that update on the Niger security situation. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Please do stay safe. Now moving to other stories, Nigerian Army troops deployed for counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency operations in the northeastern North Central have announced the arrest of 3 armed kidnappers in Lankanviri community of Karim Lamido Local Government Council of Taraba State. The announcement, which was contained in the Army's X handle on Saturday, said the troops who responded to a distress call also foiled a kidnap attempt on Musa Arewa by the arrested kidnappers. The Army said 3 locally fabricated guns were recovered from them. In another jointly coordinated effort with hunters and other security agencies, the troops conducted a fighting patrol to clear communities infiltrated by terrorists. Similarly, the Nigerian Army on Saturday said its troops have conducted clearance and search operations in Borno and Nasarawa states, resulting in the killing of terrorists and recovery of firearms. In a statement posted on its X handle on Saturday, the Army said the operations were carried out in collaboration with hybrid forces in both Kano village, Biu local government area of Borno State, and parts of Nasarawa State. According to the statement, during the operation, troops had an encounter with terrorists around Ngoma village and Neutralize 2 in a gun deal. It stated that the troops also recovered 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 motorbike, 6 bicycles, and other sundry items abandoned by the fleeing terrorists. Over in Katsina, the state government has reopened the fueling stations that had earlier sealed for alleged selling of fuel to bandits. Checks by Trust TV News revealed motorists were seen buying fuel from the affected fueling stations hours after the reopening. Abdullah Ahmadi tells us more.
Officials of a special task force on essential commodities headed by the Chief of Staff to the Governor of Enugu State had sealed off the filling stations during an unscheduled visit, alleging conspiracy with the bandits.
We have been targeting the insurgents. Now we are targeting the collaborators. Those who sell fuel to insurgents are also collaborators, and they will be met with the same treatment as the insurgents.
Katsina residents who were suspecting that the move had a political undertone are left wondering what may have transpired that warranted the reopening. Similarly, all staff of the affected filling stations apprehended during the operation were also released, but not without some conditions.
After the closure of the filling stations, as we said earlier, security agencies invited the owners of the filling stations, but for lack of concrete exhibits that will link them with the allegations, the security agents made them to undersign an agreement that henceforth they will not sell petrol to any vehicle or into any container that is not allowed by law to be carrying or to be discharging fuel.
At the moment, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association IPMAN Katsina State branch and the owners of the affected filling stations are calling on the government to make proper investigations before embarking on any mission like this.
suke magana cewa sun samu bayanai na sirri.
This is a step in the right direction. We are in total support of whatever action the government will take to restore peace to our state. And if this is part of it, we thank God. But let me reiterate here and now that we are patriotic citizens and we don't support anything that is capable of endangering our state.
Suna magana ana sai da ma yan ta'adda mai.
All the affected staff were released, and as you can see, the filling stations have been reopened. Our support to Governor Radda is unflinching now and always. We thank God for his blessings, and we thank Katsina residents for their unrelenting prayers. IPMAN officials are patriotic, and our support to the government remains intact. We thank Malam Dikko Umaru Radda for his understanding. Mixed reactions continue to trail the operation on social media and other public spaces in Katsina, considering the gravity of the allegations and the immediate reopening of the filling stations. They are also calling on the special task force to work with caution. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Still staying in Katsina, a customs officer identified as Awal Haruna has reportedly been lynched by suspected angry traders and commercial drivers at Gamjin Makaho on Keita Dankama Road in Katsina State. The incident happened Wednesday morning when traders traveling to the Dankama weekly market were stopped at a customs checkpoint about 1 kilometer away from Keita town en route Dankama border market in Katsina State. Again, Abdullah Yamadi tells us more.
The traders who were earlier moving in a convoy had a stopover at Shinkafi roundabout in the Katsina metropolis, where they were alleged to have mobilized themselves fully before moving towards Dankama market. According to eyewitnesses, the convoy on reaching Gamjin Makaho customs checkpoint, Officer Awal Haruna and his colleagues stopped the already angry traders and drivers for routine checks, but they defied any attempt to do so. That resulted to a heated argument between the customs officials and the motorists, from where they descended on Awal Haruna with sticks, stones, and other objects. The officer fired a shot in self-defense to scare the angry mob, which hit one of the passengers. This further aggravated the situation. It was also gathered that the angry traders chased the NCS official, who ran into a nearby house and set some part of it ablaze, forcing the customs officer out before he was instantly killed by the mob. Though the owner of the house was at Dankama market when the unfortunate incident happened, his wife, however, narrated how the customs officer struggled to escape death.
I was in my room when the children hurriedly came in to tell me that some unknown people from checkpoints were chasing someone. A few minutes later, I saw the customs officer in my room and I rushed out. When the mob later poured petrol and set the place ablaze, the officer was forced to come out of the room due to the fire, and that's how they killed him here.
Although some villagers declined to comment on camera, maybe for the fear of the unknown, a member of the State House of Assembly representing Keita local government, Siraju Abdullahi, faulted the traders' action. The traders are at fault because they refuse to follow due process, which I, with the help of the state government in collaboration with the customs officials, agreed upon. I call for a thorough investigation aimed at bringing the perpetrators to book. While mourning the fallen personnel, the Kano State Command of the service reaffirmed its commitment towards safeguarding the nation's borders with a resolve to promoting ease of doing business.
Most of the injuries they gave him was throughout on his head, whereby that is how we lost the officer.
This incident has triggered reactions from the residents who are calling on the service to strengthen its stakeholders forum with a view to ensuring harmonious relationships between customs officials and the public. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
I move down south where weeks after 17 military personnel were killed in an attack in Okwama, Delta State, Governor Sheriff Oborewere has visited the community and assured of the safe return of indigenes who fled the community after the incident. The governor, accompanied by some government officials, reiterated that innocent citizens will not be made to suffer for what they know nothing about. The commanding officer of 181 Army Amphibious Battalion, 2 majors, 1 captain, and 13 soldiers were ambushed and killed in March, an attack which drew widespread outrage and condemnation. Okwama, where the murders took place, has been inaccessible for weeks as the military and security operatives worked to fish out those behind the act.
To see how the innocent people can be relocated back with the cooperation of the military. It's very painful for this great loss, and you have to follow the process, and that's what we are following. And you can see today, even the brigade commander came with us to this very place. The new posted the commanding officer of 181, the other one was murdered. The new one, Lieutenant Colonel Dabo, is also here with us today. So you can see we have synergy between the government and the security agencies. So it's a process. We're already on that process. Thank you.
Over in Kano State, the Ministry of Health has clarified that the recent strange deaths recorded at Gundutse village in Kura local government area were as a result of severe malaria and typhoid in the area. A statement issued by the information officer of the ministry, Ibrahim Abdullahi, also said the epidemiology unit of the ministry found that alarming environmental health challenges exacerbated the health risk faced by the community, where 13 cases and 5 deaths were recorded starting from March 2024. Trust TV had visited Gundutse village and reported that about 45 persons reportedly lost their lives due to an outbreak of a mysterious illness in the village, as the victims, mostly women, children, and the elderly, exhibited symptoms similar to those of malaria, diarrhea, as well as vomiting. The ministry in its report stated that the delay in visiting the nearby health facility by the people of the area aggravated the situation, leading to increased morbidity and mortality in many communities. Still staying with Kano, the Sector Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has confirmed the death of 11 persons in an auto crash in Gaya local government area of the state. The incident, according to the sector public education officer A.A. Labaran, took place at the Gaya junction along the Kano-Maduguri road and involved a Toyota Hummer bus and a hijet mini pickup. Labaran explained that preliminary investigations indicated that the probable cause of the crash was overspeeding, resulting in loss of control. Labaran further disclosed that the injured victims were swiftly transported to Gaya General Hospital for urgent medical attention, while the deceased were laid to rest in a mass burial ceremony. The Corps warned drivers to refrain from committing traffic offences such as speed violations and overloading of vehicles with passengers, animals, or goods. He also advised commercial drivers to ensure installation of speed limit devices on their vehicles to avoid crashes resulting from speed limit violations. This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Still ahead. Despite slight drop in price of food commodities, vendors still charge high. More news when we return. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. This News Hour on Trust TV. If you're just joining us, now a recap of our top stories. 6 soldiers, 1 hunter killed by bandits in Niger State. Days after being shot down for alleged conspiracy with bandits, fueling station reopens for business. Now to more stories. In Oyo State, some aspirants of the governorship primary of the All Progressives Congress are already expressing doubt over the likely outcome of the exercise, which they allege is already being planned to favor a certain candidate. They are therefore expressing lack of confidence on the 7-member committee headed by the Enugu State Governor Usman Ododo and are calling for proper distribution of materials to the different wards. Here's the report.
About few minutes before 9 o'clock, the Enugu State Governor, who doubles as the chairman of a 7-man committee saddled with the responsibility of conducting the primary, arrived at Akure, the Ondo State capital. At Akure South, Ward 5, voters were waiting patiently by 10:30 when the accreditation was expected to start. At another location, the exercise was yet to begin by 11:30 as voters waited in small scattered groups. At Ward 2 Akure Ward, voting and counting were being concluded by the time Trust TV arrived. One of the aspirants and some agents alleged that there was a plan by committee to manipulate the outcome in favor of an aspirant. They alleged that no materials had arrived at any location and wondered why and how the chairman would announce that materials have been sent to the wards. They called on the national leadership of the party to correct the situation, as any result announced in areas that materials were not sent would not be accepted.
And he had the infantry to tell us, all the other aspirants, that materials have been collected and results have been announced at 10 o'clock when accreditation should ordinarily start. So we have asked the question, and he blushed us and he rushed out because he had no answer to our pleasure. He had no answer. We are not people that have been spoon-fed by some godfathers. We have taught to our people, and they believe in us. What we are talking about is there should be a credible election, that we allow our people to vote, and their vote should count. So we are asking the leadership of the party to look into this. If they are not ready for this election, let them postpone it so that the right thing should be done.
That remains a mystery yes, that of Ondo North. We are not aware when those election materials were sent out of this place. See, some comfortable people who are at peck of the, pecks of the party who rationalize it. But the truth of the matter is that there was no material sent out at that material point in time that we were told. Yesterday, we asked for the whereabouts of His Excellency Governor Ododo, and we were told that he will be coming in this morning. I think he came something around 9 a.m. and we waited there. Shortly after that, he came out and addressed us. He told us that only when he came, he informed us that election materials were sent out early this morning to Ondo South, when we've been higher as early as 6:30 a.m.
What we see playing out here is an agreement, an arrangement by Ododo and whoever he is working for to change the people of Ondo State and to reduce the capacity of our people to openly and legally exercise their right to choose their governor. What they have to do is to remedy the situation by... There's nothing to cancel, because you can only cancel what are taking place. We want to tell them that Ododo, who came here, failed, just like the way they failed
in Edo State.
As at the time of filing this report, voting and counting had been concluded in some wards at Akure, despite reservations from some quarters.
Still staying with the Southwest, where Oyo State government has urged residents of the state to be vigilant and report any suspicious movements or acts capable of breaching the safety of lives and properties to the relevant authorities. The advice is coming on the heels of the recent arrest and subsequent demolition of structures purportedly used by Yoruba Nation separatists, operational bases, as well as the demolition of a building used by illegal miners to explore lithium. Here's the report.
It's a fact-finding mission to inspect what is left of this building located in Oluyole local government area of Oyo State, where illegal mining of lithium had held sway undetected until it caught the attention of state authorities. With the facility now brought down, journalists are here to see firsthand what is left of the debris.
Yes, we want business to thrive in Oyo State, but local laws and regulations must be obeyed.
In company of security agents, top government officials, journalists and investigators, the governor led the team to Toye Oyeshola Street, Shagari in Buluaji area of Ibadan to inspect the recently demolished building allegedly identified as the operational base for agitators for the actualization of Yoruba Nation. Some residents said they were not aware of the activities of suspected separatists whose recent attack on the Agodi State Secretariat had sent shockwaves across the country.
Sunday morning when we are in church, the police officer asked us to leave the church because anything can happen, but we are trying to ask them what's going on. They say they want to check in some houses here, okay, and we left the church. So late in the afternoon, we heard that those policemen has left. So in the evening, that's why we saw everything on Facebook that they have announced Yoruba Nation and the house involved is in our area. So
it was a surprise when we had like Yoruba Nation, all these things has been happening here. So everybody was surprised. Even both at the landlord meetings and everybody was just surprised by Yoruba Nation okay. And everybody, so we didn't catch a glimpse of anything of such. Like this place, the landlords, they are very, very vigilant. They don't take security. They don't take it lightly. Security in this place is a very serious matter. We have all these vigilantes and everything. So they patrol all the time. So anytime they notice any criminal activities, the landlord associations and everything, they take action straight.
Residents of Iroroluwa Ododudu Area 7, 4 Fatunsi were taken aback when last Saturday separatists launched a coordinated attack from their operational base. The facility has been totally destroyed while inhabitants of the area are calling for immediate action to forestall a recurrence of the sad event.
It is captured in the court order that it is believed that the building will house dangerous weapon, illegal firearms, and its activities going on there. It's causing threat to peace and tranquility of Oyo State people.
I want government to do something they like to do for this society immediately effect, because I don't want any hanging area for area boys and kidnappers.
These recent attacks appear to be a wake-up call on the government to provide adequate security measures rather than being reactive to attacks.
Over in Enugu State, food vendors are yet to reduce the cost of their meals, despite the slight reduction in prices of food items in the market. Some of them who spoke to Trust TV News on the development said they are yet to feel the reduction, as most wholesalers are yet to sell at new prices. Trust TV's Ajibade Praise tells us more.
Ordinarily, one would have thought that most food vendors in the state would toe the path of patriotism and reduce their prices, but the case is not so, as cooked food is still sold at prices beyond the reach of low-income earners in Nigeria. Some of the vendors, however, highlighted some reasons why there is no change in the status quo.
The size. Normally, the size you see inside the fire here is supposed to be ×2 in the previous months. But since the increase of prices in the market, we now have to reduce the size, and people are really complaining. They no longer patronize like before. Some people that will come like, give us like 500. When you put the eat and buy, but now they complain that even the size, even if they buy like 1,000 naira on, it will even do anything.
Actually, it has not been easy. It has not been easy at all because of cost of things are very expensive now. You know, Nigeria has really, I don't know what to say, because it's affecting everybody. So everybody is affected. I wish maybe the government would do something about it.
Residents who patronize these vendors said they are not finding it easy, as a plate of any decent meal costs between 3,500 to 5,000 naira, as the case may be. Hence, the reason most of them have resorted to eating junks, which are often not healthy for the human body. They hope to see a positive change in the days ahead.
The price of food now is very, very high. Not affordable for so many people compared with the last 3-4 years ago. It was somehow affordable then, but now the price of food is very, very high.
Last time ago, we used to buy food more cheaper, but this time around, it is no longer like that, and the taste has been tough. But they tell us that dollar has already come down, but yet this thing is still the way it is. And everybody seems to complain of the leader. Why you yourself, or at least our cooperation towards the society should be something that will matter much, so that we can as well work hard and make sure that things is more good.
While residents await a downward price review, many suggest that the state and federal government should implement price control mechanism on some essential commodities whose prices have truly been reduced. This, they said, will stop vendors from selling at exorbitant prices to the masses. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
And in Jigawa State, academic activities have resumed at the Federal University Dutse after a long summer break. But the students are finding it difficult paying their tuition fees due to the prevailing economic situation in the country. While some of the students have managed to return, a lot more are still at home. As Trust TV's Ali Rabiu, who spoke to some of the returning students of the school on how they are faring, reports.
The Federal University Dutse in Jigawa State was created in 2011, and in no time student population in the university increased significantly. Though the federal government has announced reintroduction of student loan schemes to support Nigerian students pursuing higher education, some students here said they are yet to see the loan made available to them. Bashir Ahmad, a level 400 student in the Department of Political Science, said he finds it difficult to settle tuition fees in recent times. According to him, he struggled to return to the university 4 weeks after resumption due to economic hardship.
Concerning the student loan, there are so many strategies that the student need to pass through them before an individual student have an access to that loan. So these strategies are considered very difficult for an individual student to pass them. So even the loan will not be balanced for the student to continue furthering their education.
He said many students are still at home because they lacked the resources to return, nothing, however, that this will affect their academic performance, as lectures have started 3 weeks back. Maisango Gideon, a fresh student in the Department of Sociology of the university, said it was not easy for his parents to raise money and pay for his tuition fee and basic needs before he returned to the school.
It wasn't easy, because when I was here, before I came to school, it wasn't easy for my parents to cater for the necessity for me to be here, because it is a long journey from here, from my home to here. It's a long journey, but due to the effort which my parents made, I found it easy. And me coming to school, I'm in school now, I'm facing a lot of challenges. Sometimes I usually realize that honestly speaking, our parents are trying a lot in this economic problem.
Head of the Political Science Department, DUSE, FUD, Dr. Abubakar Yahya, said the economic situation in the country is one of the factors that led the students to report late after resumption of academic activities.
The most important factor is the economic situation. We know that arising from the increment in the school fees, in the last session, most state governments have to come out and bill their students to be able to finish their registration, and that session is over. A new session has just started, and most parents are finding it difficult to pay their school fees. Also, the federal government student loan, which the federal government initiated in order to help students, has not kick-started, which is also affecting why students are not being able to resume. These are some of the factors.
He said government should consider the predicaments of the students regarding the registration fees of over 100,000 naira, noting that during their time registration was just around 9,000 naira only. Ali Rabiu Ali from Jigawa State, reporting for Trust TV News.
President Bola Tinubu on Saturday said the departed former Anambra State Governor Chukwuemeka Ezeife fought for Nigeria's unity during his lifetime. Tinubu stated this at Ibuku, Agwata local government area of the state during the burial ceremony of the late rights activist and elder statesman, describing him as a true son of the soil. Tinubu was represented by at the burial by Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, described Ezeife as a courageous fighter. The burial ceremony was attended by several dignitaries and hosted by the Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo. Ezeife was elected governor of Anambra State on the platform of the Social Democratic Party (SDP) in the Third Republic in 1992. He served as governor until late military leader Sani Abacha seized the reins of power and dissolved all civilian institutions in 1993. This is News Hour on Trust TV. More when we return. To stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us on News Hour on Trust TV. Now it's time for business. The chairman of the Senate ad hoc committee investigating the turnaround maintenance of Nigeria's refineries, Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, says the Port Harcourt refinery will be operational before the end of the year. Ubah, in a press statement issued in Port Harcourt on Saturday after the committee visited Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State Government House in Port Harcourt, said progress of work at the refinery has attained 90% completion, adding that he is confident the refining of petroleum product at the refinery will start before the year ends. He said they were at Warri Refinery on Thursday and had come to Port Harcourt to investigate the work that has been done and assess the level of preparedness of both the old and new Port Harcourt refinery to recommence operations. Earlier, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara said his administration was working in tandem with the President Tinubu-led federal government's policies designed to make life better for Nigerians through the Renewed Hope agenda. Governor Fubara stated that in doing so, the Woji Aleto Alesha refinery road, now 70% completed, was being constructed to provide a bypass to easily access the Port Harcourt refinery and take off traffic from the east-west road. Still in business, the Minister of the Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, has said that approximately 90% of the tax revenue going into the government treasury originates from just 9 tax heads. Edu stated this during a briefing at the ongoing spring meetings of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and World Bank in Washington, D.C. on Friday. The minister noted that although there are around 80 different taxes and levies across Nigeria, only 9 of them generate the current 90% of revenue that significantly contributes to the gross domestic product, GDP. Edu explained that the government's objective is to reduce the multitude of taxes and properly bill individuals, which will enhance people's willingness to pay and ultimately increase revenue collection. He said the federal government is committed to tackling the issues of excess liquidity by temporarily suspending the use of ways and means from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Another foreign thing, with a 19-cannon salute and a religious ceremony, Kenya on Saturday paid a military tribute to its armed chief who died in a helicopter incident earlier in the week. Kenyan President William Ruto, along with Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and opposition leader Raila Odinga, attended the ceremony at the Ulinzi Sports Complex in the capital, Nairobi. Francis Omondi Ogola's coffin, topped with the Kenyan flag, entered the enclosure, accompanied by great fanfare before a minute of silence that ensued for the former chief of the Kenyan Defense Forces, CDF. Ogola, who was 61 years old, and 9 other military officials perished on Thursday when their helicopter went down in a remote region in the west of the country, just short of a year since his appointment as Armed Forces head by Ruto. He had been visiting troops supporting the security operation in the North Rift region, which is plagued by violence caused by armed bandits and cattle rustlers. 2 military personnel aboard survived the crash. At least 58 people going to a funeral died after their overloaded riverboat capsized in the Central African Republic's capital, Bangui, the head of civil protection said on Saturday. According to witnesses and videos on social media, the boat was carrying more than 300 people, some standing, and others perched on wooden structures when it sank on the Mboko River on Friday. The vessel was heading to the funeral of a village chief but got into difficulty shortly after setting off. Rescue services arrived 40 minutes after the disaster. Maurice Kabenyan, who was following the boat in the Kano because there was no space on board, said he collected the bodies of some of the victims, including his own sister, with the help of fishermen and residents. Some of the injured were evacuated by motorbike taxis. In Afghanistan, Disaster Management Department on Saturday said ongoing downpours have killed another 29 people across the country. Afghanistan was dried out by an unusually dry winter, followed by a 2-week stretch of downpours in most provinces that have caused sporadic flash flooding. Disaster Management Department spokesman Janan Sayek said, in quote, 29 people lost their lives because of rains between Wednesday and Saturday, with fatalities spread across 10 provinces. 7 others have been injured over the same period, he said, while 72 houses have been damaged or destroyed and more than 2,500 acres of agricultural land swept away. More than 100 people have been killed in flooding this month, according to official figures, whilst more than 25,000 families have required aid as a result of the deluge. The United Nations last year warned that Afghanistan is experiencing major swings in extreme weather conditions. And it's time for sports, put together by Adini Ajishafe.
The National Under-20 Girls Softball Camp has opened at the Samson Siasia Stadium in Enugu, Abia State, with about 150 players, 20 national team coaches, and a foreign coach in the camp. The Director of Sport, Abia State Sports Council, Braveman Wodi, while assessing the level of progress of the girls, says softball program is capable of engaging the minds of the girl child, not to get involved in social vices, drug abuse, and unwanted pregnancy. The excess of the softball camping program in Enugu is to groom and nurture talents that will represent Nigeria at the 2028 Olympic Games in the United States of America, a long-term project that is capable of producing softball stars for the nation. The camping program will move to another state within the interval of 6 months with the aim of discovering more talents. And in football, Nigeria's oldest football competition, the Federation Cup, has had a change of name as the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF), in collaboration with the Ministry of Sports Development and GTI on Friday, announced a new nomenclature for the knockout competition. The competition, which national draw for the round of 64 was conducted on Thursday, will now be known as President Federation Cup. It is the 7th name for the competition, which began in 1945 as Governor's Cup following the changes in the Nigerian Constitution. The annual general meeting of the then Nigerian Football Association (NFA) on February 28, 1955 opted for another name, the All Nigerian Challenge Cup, simply called the Challenge Cup, as laid out by NFA President at the launch of the latest name.
The Ministry and the NFA decided to see that they use the name of the highest office of the land. We did not say it is the President Bola Tinubu's Foundation Cup. And I think every single corporate organization would like to see that it partners with that kind of product. We are not looking at a sponsor that will come and take over the time. We are only going to start looking for partners that are going to partner with us. And I think every single corporate organization will have to partner with a product that will bear the name of the office of the highest office of the land.
64 teams will slug it out in the men's version of the President's Federation Cup, while 32 teams will battle in the women category. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajisha.
Thank you, Adeni, for that sports news. And just before we go, here's a kicker. The creative force behind the beloved children's entertainment character is multifaceted artist and entrepreneur Bola Edwards. She has dedicated her talent to crafting engaging and educational content for children with a focus on celebrating African heritage. Her family joins Edwards on this journey. Take a look.
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Wura, but everybody likes to call me Grandma Wura. Well, I like to tell stories straight from the heart of Africa.
Tell you something you've never heard that will blow your mind. Once upon a time, I tell you stories from Africa.
As a child, I grew up on all the Sesame Street. I grew up on Newsmo and all of this Western entertainment. I also grew up a lot on the Tales by Moonlight as well, and the Uncle Jimmy's show. And so I get the children. They want to see things that look like Walt Disney and all of that. So I get them. That's also one of the reasons why in Proud African Roots, what we do is we make our content look very exotic with all the colors and the characters that we create.
Hello, children. Welcome to Grandma Wura's Story Hut, where my stories give you wings and fly you on an African adventure.
We had a challenge because when we got to the platforms, they were more eager to collect, to buy content from, the usual places they had gotten them from, which is, outside the country, international content and all of that. And when you come with yours, it's like, we don't have money for this and all of that. It was quite discouraging initially, but we decided, okay, you know what? We're not going to allow this to stop us from doing what we need to do and getting the message out there.
If you seek her, Africa.
What a lovely way to tell the story of the African heritage. And that's the size of our package tonight on News Hour. For more, Follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. I am Chiamaka Mwafo, the back of the news production team. Thank you for joining us.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.